So, Freeze, I want to bring up a subject that I want to talk to you about, and we're going to have it for the benefit of the listener at home, for the military surplus collector, because I want your opinion.
Okay.
And you know kind of some of the background on this. Let's talk about the Ethiopian cache of guns that have been brought in by Royal Tiger Imports, aka Interordnance.
You mean the royal trash of guns?
Yeah.
What kind of
Um,
guns are they?
well, there's a bunch of them. This cache of guns popped up about 2 or 3 years ago, and you're just now kind of seeing them hit the market. Um, but there's a lot of Italian rifles. There's some British rifles. I think some French rifles. But they were all log stacked, pallet stacked where you just crisscross layers of guns, and they've been in a warehouse. I actually saw pictures of these in the warehouse, and they looked like they were stored inside of a chicken coop with chicken shit and bird shit. All just kind of they were nasty looking. But with that being said,
In
it's still
Ethiopia.
yeah in Ethiopia. But with that being said, it's still a cache of guns that's being imported into the U.S. Problem is, prices of milsurp guns have gone up drastically. The condition of these guns are pretty deplorable. Not all of them. There's some decent ones
Well,
there.
these guns are having a problem that I think is pretty unique. It's worth noting, and this is why I brought it up. And I'm going to have to bring up an old issue that you and I remember that the average listener to this podcast will not, unless they're 50. Do you remember back in the day when you would go into a gun store and you would see an M1 Garand on the rack? And the first thing you would do is you would pull it off the rack and you would look at the import mark.
See
And
if it was a blue sky.
If it said blue sky, you put it
Yep.
back on the rack.
Yep. Because
Blue
they were
sky.
garbage.
They were garbage, and some of that might have been overdone, but that was the thinking. Well, here's what's been going on with these guns out of Royal Tiger, Royal Tiger imports, whatever they're called. Um, they've got M1 carbines they've been pulling out. They've been getting uh, uh, guns out of Austro-Hungary, Steyr 1890s guns, a lot of French, Lebels, Berthiers, there's Chassepots, I think, in there. There's Enfields, as you said. But the thing is, there's all kinds of Mausers. There's Gewehr rifles and all kinds of stuff. But what's happening is how they're grading these guns, it appears, I could be mistaken, and if somebody wants to set me straight, or Royal Tiger Imports, but from what I've seen on the internet and looking at the inventory, is the way RTI is grading these guns is they're basically grading the gun cosmetically from the outside, ignoring the barrel.
The way they're grading the guns is a crime, especially when you factor in what they're charging for upgrades. Do you want handpick, select, and blah blah blah?
Well, here's the thing. That's the question. So, they get a gun that you want to buy, because there was a guy, and I talked to him on the internet. Not really, I don't know him, but he got a he's got on YouTube. He got a what the hell was this? It's a Mauser, and it had a roller coaster sight on it.
Oh, that's an 1888 contract.
Yeah, I don't think it was a commission, but it was one of these. It wasn't the gun that has the sleeve over the barrel. It was after that, but it still had the roller coaster.
The roller coaster sight, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like some kind of pre-98K, or I don't. I'm not a huge Mauser guy,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying. You kind of know where I'm basically landing. And this gun looked, it showed up dirty,
Yeah,
and he
they all
cleaned
do.
it. He cleaned it up, and a lot like a lot of the guns that came out of Nepal with the other group, and you clean them up
Yeah.
and you work on them. You're like, hey,
Sure.
wow, that really, you soak the wood, you you do what you do. And this gun looked like holy shit, this gun's in good shape. Then he showed the inside of the barrel. And this
Sewer pipe?
this thing was worse than a sewer pipe.
Wow.
This thing, you literally couldn't see even a rust shape of rifling.
Really?
And it even had looked like, because he ran a bore scope down it, it looked like at one point when it was in Ethiopia, and he didn't catch it, I did. So this is and I could be wrong because I haven't seen the rifle. He's running a bore scope, and it literally looks like you're going down the throat of a rusty brontosaurus. Like, this thing is you can't believe this is a fucking barrel. And it's going down from the chamber, going down, with the bore scope, going down. All of a sudden, there's a big step in the rust, and about the last 7 inches, this gun is rusted out on the inside. But apparently, in its past, they had counterbored it, and they counterboarded it like 7 or 8 inches.
Dude, seriously?
And then it rusted again.
Oh my God.
And then it rusted again. Because this guy didn't catch the counterbore. I did, because I'm a shooter. And it was like, and so this is what and you look around on the internet, and like you see some it looks like a lot of these Royal Tiger import guns are roached on the inside. Here's my problem, and I don't want to give too much away, but I have to, because you and I are having a conversation. We're going to pretend that the listener isn't here, and I'm not creating people competing with us for guns. If a bunch of these Royal Tiger guns hit the market, there are certain guns in the Royal Tiger inventory that are on our long-term to-buy list. And if these guns hit the market commonly, and we're trying to buy guns through auctions remotely, this is going to make it more difficult, because now we're going to have to wade through the RTI guns that like they're blue skies. And maybe we should run out now before these guns flood the market and buy all the guns off the long-term to-buy list that we think are in the RTI inventory, because they're going to slag that whole market.
Are you saying take a gamble on the condition?
No, I'm saying buy guns now that we know are not RTI guns, because the RTI guns haven't really hit the market yet.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Buy like old Century imports that are decent.
Well, okay. I'm not going to name. Well, you know what? I'll name the gun. We purchased. You saw this happen. You and I talked about it.
Yeah.
We purchased a Steyr 1891 rifle. Is that what it is?
No, I thought that was the Carcano rifle.
I'm sorry, the Carcano.
Yeah.
We bought a Carcano rifle, not the carbine, but the rifle, because I have a thing against carbines. And I bought the rifle.
Initially, I was not happy when you sent me the link to it, but then when you actually made the purchase, it was just like cha-ching, score. I was happy.
Yeah. And the reason I was confident buying it is I could see the import marks on it, and it wasn't RTI.
Yeah, it's definitely a Century import with
and it was like
with the markings. Yeah.
Century had brought some in from Finland, maybe, I think.
Joe, I have no clue where they came from.
I heard it was Finland. But it's here's the thing. It was like
Finland. If it came from Finland, that's a good score, especially for the price, because it'll have a Finn Army proof stamp on it. Collectors eat that shit up for dinner.
Yeah, maybe I could be mistaken. I heard a rumor. I don't know where, but it came out of Europe. It didn't come out of a chicken coop in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, like these guns are going to hit the market, and like I mean, it's going to. My fear is there's like let's say there's a couple guns that we want, and 5 years from now, every time we go to buy one of these guns, it's going to be like, show me the import mark, show me the barrel. Well, it's fine. Because every one of them is going to be an RTI fucking sewer pipe.
Well,
Like,
and the thing is, someone's going to have an RTI gun, and they're going to show pictures of the barrel and the rifling of the gun, and the rifling is going to be good, and that's going to double the value of the gun because there's going to be so many of them with shit rifling.
It could, but it's just going to make it harder. Like, it's going to increase the likelihood we're going to buy. Every gun we buy is a shooter. We don't buy wall hangers. And, we could accidentally buy an RTI gun, then I'm fucked with it. I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. So that's my concern. The RTI gun situation is concerning me for our collection because I think it's going to be a mess.
Do guns out of Norway have a fish fillet stamp on them? Is that how you could tell they're right?
No, but if you can get some French rifles from that island in the Indian Ocean where they did their nuclear testing, they will glow in the dark. When and especially when they show up at the Olympics and there's people from the island marching the Olympics. The Koreans will point it out. The bikini, the Bikini Atoll guns.